Welcome to another episode of Pistons of Fury. In this episode, we've got the wagon in the garage, and we are doing some rust repair or cancer removal on the rear quarter panel. Alright, well, this episode, last episode I just kicked off the new project car. This episode we are digging into it, and you may notice a little change in the garage. I've actually switched out the car, so the Mustang is now outside. We will test to see how weatherproof all of that livery that I did actually is, so that should be interesting. But on the serious side, I am getting a car cover for that car, so when I'm not using it, it'll be under that. So hopefully it'll be a little bit more durable than not. So the wagon is now, hold on. Wagon is now in the garage. Focus. This car, being as long as it is, basically takes up my entire garage, so it intrudes right into my workspace. Coming along the back here, and yep, we are right at the edge of what this garage can handle. So just to jump right into it, what we're going to be doing is tackling this rear quarter. And one thing I forgot to mention in my overview of the car is that this gas cap situation is going to come to an end. I'm going to be cutting that out. I'm going to be doing a patch panel on top of that, and we're actually going to do a custom, you can't see it because of the angle, but in the back tail light here, we're going to do a little hidden fuel filler, just because, you know, there's no point in doing all this work right here if, you know, I get a new paint job and I have to spill fuel all over it again. You know, I see so many cars of this vintage with this rear quarter fuel cap, and you know, I see the same kind of thing. The paint's just chewed up because of the gas. Yeah, so that's that. We're getting rid of that. We're gonna fix the rust. So I'm gonna just grab a screwdriver and start poking around and do a little bit of quarter panel archaeology. Or is it geology? Finding rocks? Archaeology? I don't know. Whatever's in there, we are gonna find it. So that's what I'm gonna be doing now. And here we have it. This is, you can see it. You can see this green. That was the, not the original color, but it's the color that I got the car. Well, when I bought the car, that's what it was. It was like this forest green. And it looks like somebody has Bondoed right over the rust, which is just great. Really kicking myself for not checking this panel better before I put all that time and energy into painting it. Yeah, so I've got to get the sander out, and we're going to sand all this down and try to get to the bottom of this. Alright, so here's where we are. I've started sanding this off, as you guys just saw. Lots of little rust holes, some pinholes that are showing up. I don't know what other pinholes exist behind this paint. I know that to do a legitimate patch, I'm gonna have to cut at this body line all the way around and the bottom, so I think I'm just gonna do that, and then I'll use that to make my pattern out of new sheet metal versus getting this all clean. I think I'll get a better idea when this is opened up exactly how much damage is under there. But I don't know if you saw on camera, but when I was over here in this part, there's actually water still coming out of that, so whatever is inside here, it is still wet and it's still collecting water, so that's awesome. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna come up here, so basically starting right there, and cut along this body line, cut along the back there, and then cut along the bottom because it's kind of pressed, so there's two pieces. I don't want to reform the bottom. I will cut this, treat it, and then weld along the bottom. So hopefully my welding on my patch will just kind of blend into the body line. It's a lot easier to blend that than to do it on an open panel like this. So that's what I'm going to do now. We're going to cut, and then we're going to take a look inside. Okay, well, I've got crazy mask face, so we're gonna stop looking at me, but I wanted to show you guys this. So, in case you were ever wondering, this is what it looks like behind a old rusty panel on a 1966 Dodge Coronet station wagon. Yeah. So I'm gonna continue. I mean, I'm going through all this trouble. I could have just used something like electric cutoff wheel grinder kind of thing, but I wanted to use this cutoff wheel. It's a little slower. It's not as powerful as the electrics, but it kind of gives me a level of precision, and I'm used to using it. So for this kind of job, just use whatever you're most comfortable with. A plasma cutter would obviously be probably the right tool for the job, but seeing as I don't have one, this is the next best thing. So I'm going to continue my cut along the bottom here. I want to try to take this off as one piece. I could just muscle it off right now, but that would do me no good in terms of making a template for it. So I am almost there. I'm going to continue the bottom cut. Hopefully it comes off in one piece and doesn't rip anywhere. So, just in case you were wondering, what 50 years worth of dirt and rust and oxidation look like, that is it. All of this stuff here was sandwiched between this outer quarter and the inner quarter, and this is what the inner quarter looks like. I am going to have to borrow a media blaster or something from my neighbor or get one myself, because this is just pretty bad. A lot of the stuff that came out was actually still moist, so it's no surprise why this panel was rusting. I was able to get it out in one piece, so this will actually make a perfect template for my patch, so that's cool. I was able to cut it right along the body line here. This is the only spot where it won't be along the body line, but this is right next to folded metal, and it's right where it's kind of pinched to the inner one, so that should be pretty easy to weld. Let's see. Up here, I've got no, I've felt all behind here. There's really no no additional rust spots, so that's good. I think I cut out all the cancer from this panel. So that's the good news. Bad news is I don't have sheet metal this big, so I'm gonna have to find a metal supplier and go get a piece. There is a slight contour in this panel, but I think what I'm gonna do is I may contour it a little bit. I've got a like an 80-pound punching bag, which I could use to contour that and get the slight curve in it. And then I've just found that to get the actual body contour, the best thing to do is just to kind of get it tacked onto the car and just shape it from there once you have the initial contour. But this is just a curve. It's just a curve in the panel, so it shouldn't be too hard to replicate. But yeah, that's some good progress for the day. My memory card on my camera only holds about 30 minutes worth of footage before it has to reset. I guess that's like the camera buffer or something like that. So yeah, that took basically two full buffers to do. So I live my life 30 minutes at a time. Yeah, so about an hour to cut through all that and do it right, you know, take my time. I wasn't trying to rush or anything. So that is it. That's gonna be a wrap for this episode. I don't know how long or short it's gonna be, but that's about all I have time for. It just took me a long time to clean up the garage, get the car swapped out. This thing had a dead battery, so I had to charge that. Didn't capture all that because it's kind of just mundane stuff. Yeah, so next for this car, hopefully I can get some metal this week and I can start making that panel. And maybe next week will be some of the cleanup and prep, maybe sandblasting and treating this. I do have some rust treatment that I'm going to use on it and try to spray up in the rest of there. Since I have this off, I may try to do the gas thing. I'm at a loss for words. I don't know what that thing's called. I'm tired. The gas cap, make that go away. That's what I'm gonna do. It has gas in it, so it'll be okay to move it around. All right, I don't know what I'm saying anymore. So I'm gonna call it. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, hit me up in the comments. Any tips, advice, if you've done this before, if you haven't, happy to share what I know, and also would love to hear what you guys have done and how you've tackled stuff like this before. It's not my first rodeo, kind of know what I'm doing, but obviously always open to any suggestions and things like that. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next week.